Hey there, happy Wednesday there, it's me, Curious Trader. Hopefully you're having a great trading week. Just gonna go over some setups, which I see kind of a watch list for tomorrow and the rest of the week. And go over some trades, which I took today, primarily just two, FSL and PAPL. Two different type of setups. We're gonna go over some stocks. I think there's a lot on scan. Hopefully I can learn something from this. Alright. But again, all of this is just for educational only, not advice. Alright, but the play in front of you is pretty much a mean reversion bounce play on moving averages. This one is pretty much the bread and butter. 5 star, 5 star, okay? And I always want to tell you, okay, you want to focus on stocks that have gone in the past. Remember, former runners can run again, okay? You always want to focus on hot themes, what's going on in the overall markets. And right now, it's really all these energy plays, you know, with the sector leader, BE, you know, this is a 5-star play here. And earnings EP today, you know, off the continuous move. But we'll go over that one in a moment. But always focus on hot stocks, you know, FSL's been running, Poet, it's pretty much done, news play. And NVTS is pretty much setting up as a mean reversion balance play, just like FSL. And this one pretty much I was on the right track, but I didn't execute it well. I pretty much got long, and here's one thing I've been working on, is you wanted to prove, right? I got long pretty much at 11.40, right? Risking low of day at the time, which was $11. And I need to buy, let it prove itself, you know? I'm trying to buy in anticipation of that range break, which in a sense I was right in the end, right? But again, I mentioned I'm in a cash account right now. I'm not in a margin, whereas I don't have that much buying power. So therefore, whenever it stopped me out, and that's another thing, you have to respect your risk. You have to defend your risk, I say. And my risk was $11, and you can even see here, you know, it even go. The low on the day was $10.99, so it even really breached $11. It just really pretty much just touched it, and that was pretty much the bottom. You know, I sold pretty much where I should have bought. It happens, it's trading. I didn't get back in, but it goes back to show you from the prior video lesson that sometimes if you get stopped out, get back in. I didn't get back in because I didn't have buying power due to a cash account, not on the margin. But if I would for sure bought the breakout again, because the setup's still valid, you know. But this is a classic mean reversion bounce play. Keep it simple, okay? Simple. You know, for pretty much 3 days, here it was reverting, and not a coincidence. On the 10-day, it bounced up, had a nice gap, and ideally the entry was opening range highs over this pivot level, okay, and the low of day is risk your stop. And congrats to those who did get long. Of course, I did take this in the simulator account. I'm kind of mimicking trades, did well, but of course the live account lost like $60. So I think it was actually $30. It was less, 30. So it happens. It just sucks whenever you see a good play, and like it. That's trading though, you know, it goes the way it works. It's fine though, because I'm there, it's just tinkering and executing. But NVTS is pretty much a similar one I'm watching, same type of pattern. NVTS, and there's one more, the same type of pattern, Atom. Same type of plays, setups, mean reversion on these moving averages, okay? Where NVTS is a semi-name, big move, you know, recent big move, look left. And now we're pretty much going down these 4 days, and it's basing here on the 10-day. And you always want to focus on wicks. You know, we talk about this on the channel sometimes. This wick's getting bought up, so we're watching it. It's developing nice ranges on the hourly chart, and we'll see what happens. You know, that's what really trading's all about. Is just being patient and look left. You know, this is becoming prior support level. These recent ranges, so that's what I'm watching on that one. If it happens, it happens. Over really $16 would be the key mark. Even over the open, 1580s, 1590s with risk of 15. You know, but that's that one. Atom, same type of deal, similar type of move. Look left, Big cup and handle, has gone in the past, and it's basing really nicely. Pretty much a nice channel here on the ranges. So it's the same type of premise, reversion for that potential bounce play over 750. There's one more, same one with, I think, AGPU. I'm watching this one. Just that positive news on this gap up EP, but it is faded. So I'm watching this one for potential bounce play. Same premise, if there's a bounce, you get long, risking low of day. So it's on the 10-day right now. So ideally, let it go sideways, build ranges. But if it opens over this pivot level of, let's say, what is that, 650, then that's going to be a potential setup. So really, Atom, AGPU, NVTS are the same type of setups, mean reversion bounce plays off these moving averages, pretty much looking for it to do what FCell did today. Of course, I didn't think this was going to break towards this high of day daily chart. I was aiming for swinging it, and it pretty much did exactly what it did. So congrats to those people who did go long. Obviously, AMD semiconductor main theme going pretty well here. Likely will go higher. But other than that, we talked about INTC. Congrats to those who did get long this one. Pretty much the same delayed reaction I mentioned before. Pretty much a stock that gaps up, goes sideways, builds these ranges here, and you just wait to buy, that range break. And congrats to those who get to get long on that one. PAPL was one I traded small size because, again, I'm on a cash account, so I didn't have that much buying power left. And I kind of hesitated here. I don't know why. There was no volume on it. The setup's so valid, it's so, I call these liquidity trap. These are low float names, very thin stocks, high ADR, they can run, and basic premise, big move. And I saw this yesterday, how it was making this nice tightness here and aiming for the range break over 140. And pretty much we got that out of the open, but for some reason I didn't buy it. And that's something I'm working on. Kind of pissed me off, because you want to buy it just as it's breaking out of those ranges. You see a stock go sideways, you want to buy it just here. I did get long though in this dip, pretty much at 160, and very small size. I believe only about 200 shares, and pretty much it was a round trip. I pretty much was pissed off that I butchered FCell, and I didn't take this trade seriously because I should. You want to take every trade seriously, but it kind of pissed me off. And this is a nice, I was very patient, 160s was my buy, and low was about 150. And I was very patient. It had a nice rally here, and for some reason I didn't lock in the gains. It would have been like $60, but I didn't do it. I got greedy, and it pretty much just, as you can see here, faded the entire way down. And I sold pretty much at 170. I was very patient, but I sold at 170. And it was up like probably $10 or something. Kind of pathetic. But just to go to show you, always locking gains, always take singles, alright? That's really those two trades, okay? But BE is an EP. Congrats to those. I don't really, it's earnings, right? But always look at the chart, of how it's not extended by any means, it's a nice EP over this range here. So that's a good setup, Well, you always want an EP, like, it's good if it gaps up over ranges, you don't want it to gap up into like these moving averages. Let's say if it was down here, so that's a good one. Ideally more continuation. I'm also watching like the energy sector, like plug. Give me 1 sec. Okay, sorry about that. But as I was saying, you want to focus on stocks that gap up over the ranges, EP, like this one, where I talked about one. Which one did I trade? It was Bath and Body Works. I traded BB. Is it YD? I think. Bath. I didn't even know the ticker. I traded it, and it was. I gotta find it. And it pretty much gapped up, and it pretty much crap. BBY. There it goes. And there's always a big commonality in that, they've had earnings, but look at the chart, it's shit. There's no gapping up over the ranges. Yes, it gapped up over the moving averages, right? But there's a big difference compared to BE, where the stock is linear. You know, it's in a good sector. So congrats to those who did get that one. But other than that, I mentioned BIYA. I think I'm looking for a potential liquidity trap over 210 on this one. Pretty much ranges. They had some news on this one, I believe. What is this? It's cryptocurrency, so I'm watching that one. INTC over and over. AAOI, pretty much watching how tightness this gets. It's a recent, it's a semiconductor name as well, semi-theme. Big move, linearity. And this is what I'm talking about, you know, as an example. Gap up EP off this range right here, you know. This is an EP right here. Big gap over these ranges, you know. And again, you want to focus on stocks that move. Most often, the best ones will offer you entries. Well, most often the ones go straight up like this one, but they come back, you know, and they have to develop. Because most stocks develop. They move like stairs. Okay, I'll go into that a lot of times in the future. Stocks move like stairs. It doesn't just go straight up. It takes time. You know, your job is to focus on the ones that base on these moving averages and surf the moving averages. And this is getting really tight right now, you know. So I'm watching this one over 160. We'll see. Of course, always pay attention to the semi-themes, leaders as a whole. And you don't want to be in no laggers, you know. You want to be in stocks that are moving. But that's that one. AMDL. AMD. Just watching. I don't know how this went off my radar. It's kind of annoying, but watching it for potential a break of 352, for potential more continuation on that one. Let's see what other ones I'm watching here. CRML. That will kind of fade into the play. But really, that's really all. Just focus on your setups, you know. MXL was a clean one, nice one. Pretty much this is the bread and butter. You know, you have these flag breaks, these mean reversion bounce plays, but that's what's been working lately. You focus on stocks that make a big move and pull back towards a moving average and develop a range, and you buy the range expansion. And that's why I'm doing a video lesson for y'all today, because if you could remember a chart like F-Cell and trade this one pattern over and over again, you will do good. Because most often than not, this pattern happened over and over again. You know, even looking back here, it's the exact same thing right here. You know, big move here, pull back and go again. And it's just picture perfect. And it goes back to saying, like, even on AAOI, you know, stock that makes a big linear move, bases here, and has a range break for a couple of days, okay? And it's gonna take time to develop, to like master this. You're never really gonna master it. It's gonna take time. But that's where I'm at right now. You know, it's focusing on these patterns, and it takes time, you know. But F-Cell, ideally, gap and continuation. You know, with this setup, you really want to trail 10 day, because the big money's made in like fat pitches. You know, I'm not trying to go for like a day trade. I'm trying to go for big moves to grow my account. So that's that one. BE, pretty much same deal. Trail 10 day, let it do its thing. Ideally, pull back and go sideways more. You know, otherwise it can go higher, but it's up quite a lot. But pretty much same thing like INTC, you know, have a couple of days of sideways, let it build its ranges, then have another expansion higher. That's that one. EDSA kind of got away from me. This is pretty much the exact premise, you know, big move sideways. Just the volume is really thin, and you have that nice range break here. I didn't think it was going to go the high of $18, but it did. So ideally, that's that one. AAOI, we already went over that one. That's pretty all. Fastly is one I'm watching as well. A recent runner, you know, this is a nice one here. Linearity. It's going sideways here. I'm just watching it. It's one of the ones I'm watching. It has spikeability, so I'm watching it. You know how it's building this nice ranges here. Ideally, it fades because it's having a lot of resistance in this area here. But I'm watching it for a potential range break over 27 with conviction if it holds, and maybe get long. But we'll see on that one. Also, oil is on the back of my mind. Oil has been going. Oil futures have been going as well. So I'm watching the oil stocks with the tensions over there, obviously, and energy, you know. So it's what I'm watching for any potential oil plays. But I already went through some oil plays, and there's really not that much oil stocks going on right now. BATL doing nothing, but always have price alerts. But that's really all I'm watching. Just a watch list for y'all. But main watchers, obviously for tomorrow, PAPL, liquidity trap. Oh, not that one. I'm sorry. BIYA, potential liquidity trap over $2 plus. The other potential mean reversion balance plays: NVTS, APLD, and Atom, and AGPU. Those four I'm watching. The rest just on backlist. All right. Other than that, that's tonight's watch list and trades. I'll see y'all next time.